And this is this moment where all these conservatives who so deeply like swore to you, funny is funny, we're being comedians, nothing is sacred, kill all sacred cows, and suddenly are like, no, we were talking about trans people.
Yeah.
A straight white guy who I met once, this is really serious. What did Dave Portnoy say? This is one of the darkest days in our nation's history. And then released a review of a pizza shop 3 hours later.
Comedian Gianmarco Soresi called out the double standards on his podcast with Russell J. Daniels.
The people I'm here to criticize are the liberals, the Ezra Kleins, and even worse, just the ones who go like, guys, we need to like act like this person wasn't an extremist. Anything aside, you can say that you think really adamantly like, you know, violence is never the answer. Fine, but to go like this man did politics the right way. I think every time they talked about this guy, they should have, like on the news, you know, you go like, you know, very sorry for this thing, let's play a clip, and every clip is just people don't even know who it is, and now all these videos on Twitter will be like, hey, here's a video of Charlie Kirk talking to a black man. He doesn't say a single slur. Now, do you feel good?
I got a lot to say about Ezra Klein in a moment. More from Soresi.
It's kind of like that feeling of like when someone does like big game hunting, and then and then a lion does something. You're like, I don't think you should have been doing some of those things. It was dangerous. And it was bad, and I didn't wish it to happen.
Why do you need to go out of your way?
I didn't know about it. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't advocating for it to happen.
Yeah.
But there's only so much I can feel when you're like, oh, well, you shouldn't have been doing all that.
The Whitney Cummings of the world would see a video of a dad in Gaza carrying a plastic bag of his child's body parts and not blink an eye, and there would not be enough of an American gravitational pull for them to be held accountable for their not caring at all. Oh, now the country's in a bad place. I go, that's because you associate with this person for a couple different dimensions. A major one is whiteness. One is class, you know, having money. Mm-hmm. One is fame. And I go, for you to lack the self-awareness that you think because it touches an area that you're in, so thus it somehow is automatically ranks above all the other tragedies that happen in this world that you don't touch on. And you want everyone to buy into your thing that it is actually the most tragic, when there are people who have lost their kids in a school shooting, or have family members, or live in Palestine, or live in any other place that goes through strife, including in America. You are demanding and threatening, like those who don't buy into the seriousness of the thing that kind of just was in your orbit. You're full of shit. You're full of shit, and you should not be capitulated to. There was another shooting that day. If you don't equally talk about these people, then you hold no standing in my mind.
This is all spot on, and I highly recommend all of y'all watch on his YouTube.
I don't think anybody's ever had their last words be gang violence. It's usually like shouting a specific gang name, you know, like Southside Crip, bang bang. It's never like gang violence, bang bang. The right was like, oh, clearly it was a Democrat. First of all, they don't have good aim like that. Somebody dies, why do you have to instantly politicize it? Even people on the left are like, haha, got him. You're just feeding into this gang mentality because, like, what are the biggest gangs in America other than Republican versus Democrat? So what I'm saying is we would count this shooting as gang violence. And then you have politicians, both left and right, being like, political violence has no place. Like, no violence has place anywhere, anytime.
Another comedian weighing in was this guy.
There were some suspicious things. Netanyahu tweeted a little too soon. Netanyahu and Trump tweeted at the exact same time, 3:02 p.m. You can check the receipts.
Sammy Obeid, who we featured on the channel previously.
White people, I see y'all in here. Sorry for y'all lost. no, I'm gonna tell you, I didn't know who Charlie Kirk was 2 days ago. I had no idea who he was. I don't watch that channel. But I seen how they've been dealing with this. They've been really broke up about this, man. And then I've been seeing all the videos and stuff he has said, and I've seen all of the work that he had did for the Republican Party and helping build that up. And then he got shot in Utah by another Republican in front of other white people. I said, he like Nipsey Hussle for bigots.
Many more would chime in, like Sir Lance Woods, who you should absolutely follow on TikTok.
I went to a gun range for the first time in my life. Yeah, I don't remember the name of it. I think it was called Northgate High School. Now, all right, here's my take on school shootings. I don't want to blame it on any one group of people, you know. All right, but it seems like a lot of white people, okay? And the only reason I say that is I've been talking to my black friends, and they're all like, how about we segregate schools again? Because... How's that sound? Separate but not lethal? Does that sound good to everyone?
Did it with Wyatt Figurato, who's another y'all should be paying attention to. On the Ezra Klein stuff, and I am more than aware that there are many of you who are not as online as us, and also that we have to pay attention to this stuff, unfortunately, as I'm watching the Champions League, trying to just have some sanity left in my brain. He penned an opinion piece, all right, for the New York Times. And he wrote how Charlie Kirk did politics the right way. Klein would profess he was envious of how Kirk built a political movement, and he praised the deceased conservative commentator. I disagree with this on so many levels, as do many others.
Here's the problem. Kirk built this movement on deceit, and his advocacy was laced with racism and bigotry. Recognizing this does not diminish how awful this assassination was, nor should it lessen our outrage and our sympathy. Kirk was part of the crusade that broke American politics. He was a major proponent of Trump's lie that the 2020 election was stolen from him. Kirk pushed a false conspiracy theory that ended up inciting one of the most horrendous acts of political violence in U.S. history, January 6th. His role in all of that has been largely overlooked in many of the news stories about his political activities. As a right-wing provocateur and MAGA organizer, Kirk made many statements that could be considered racist, bigoted, homophobic. He said that the religion of Islam was not compatible with the West. He hosted white nationalists on his podcast. He said that America must preserve its white demographics. And the lies he advanced did fuel political violence and an assault on our national foundation. That is not practicing politics the right way. His assassination is horrible and frightening, and should be denounced by all. It should prompt reflection on what is happening within our country and what we ought to do to prevent further political violence. But it should not protect Kirk or anyone else who engages in the politics of extremism from critical review.
In closing, no one should be pew-pewed over politics. I don't believe it. I actually think my position is way more pro-life than the pro-life movement, as a matter of fact. I think what happened to him is awful. And it should be condemned throughout, okay? What I don't like is how, in the wake of this, we have a good amount of information, and Ken Klippenstein wrote a really good Substack about this, where he saw leaked Discord chats. Like Mike from PA broke down the internet culture behind what he had written on his weapon of choice, the alleged shooter. I mean, what gets me is just that they're waging a war on the left, and they have been for a while, when our position is pretty clear that, like, a majority of us don't want guns. We know how to end all of these shootings. And this guy has leanings that are pretty right, in my opinion. And as it has been dissected, like he's an internet troll. So that just gets me. It bugs me. And it also bugs me that, and I'm sorry for a lot of people that might be like learning the differences here as we're going on, but and I've tried doing my best at times, but just seeing how liberalism just doesn't work. Like, it ushered in so many different things. There are some good parts, sure. But the problem with the Ezra Kleins of the world is that he did it the right way. He also was a college dropout who like amassed this insane amounts of wealth because he was funded by right-wing billionaires. All of this was funded by right-wing billionaires. You know what that does? That gives him a head start. Like, doing it the right way? I don't think so, man. Like, I think his rhetoric was very dangerous, very bigoted. So I just don't see it. Like, I feel terrible for what happened. I feel terrible. And I feel bad most of all for his family and his kids. But like this whitewashing of like who a person is, because we always do this when someone passes, whether tragically or not. It's in bad faith, and it's really unfair to those who trust you, Ezra. It's dishonest, man, and it's bad. I think it's okay for us to be really honest about the situation and holding up a mirror without essentially cracking it and putting the pieces together as you see fit to fit your narrative.